59, 34-260 and 34-261, and 34-262 regarding panhandling, loitering, and camping in a public place, repealing all other ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict therewith, and providing for a savings clause.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance as stated, as we've discussed before, is kind of was generated by some of the conversation about the struggle the city of Austin had over the last couple of years with camping in public places. Our ordinance to this point, frankly, like many city ordinances, was relatively silent on this topic. I didn't know you could camp at a public place till we went through this exercise around here the last few years. So we're simply proposing there's some language changes relative to the loitering section of our code, but we're simply adding a section to the code to specifically outlaw camping in public parks and in public places, and simply empower the police a little more to regulate that. I don't want to make clear that this isn't targeting any group. We acknowledge it's not that we have a problem, quote unquote, today with this. We don't have a specific group or individuals we're targeting. It's just positioning the city to deal with this issue in the future. We have heard from other suburban communities that since the voters changed the law in Austin, that they have seen an increase of some of the homeless people coming out to their communities to camp, and so it's just another tool for us to be able to regulate that.
Okay, I'll start with, I see the need for this, I do. But at the same time, I hope that we all understand that there's different causes for homelessness. There's different causes for people that may need services that they don't have access to or haven't accessed to. And I hope that's all taken into account here. We definitely need the ordinance. I understand the need for it. I'm not saying I don't. But at the same time, these are people that we're talking about. And Tom, you can just clear it up for me and for anybody else that might be confused about it. This also affects people that maybe sleep downtown or sleep on a bench at the park, or
You could
correct?
Potentially, yes.
Anybody else have anything? I'm looking at the need for this ordinance, and I'm also looking at the humaneness of how we treat people that may need help. Yes, Councilman.
Yeah, on that same point, if it does come, to, fines, enforcement, can the officers or, the enforcement personnel also give resources?
Well, let's ask the chief.
Yeah, I thought maybe we'd have the chief speak to that. I mean, we don't, already now with loitering, or if people have an issue, we try to direct them to social services, correct?
And the ministers of several churches here in town have already, we've worked with them to find alternative places. One was put up in a hotel for a week until they were able to find transportation or resources elsewhere. What this does, by and large, is, as the city manager said, we like to use or at least have a tool for guidance and to be able to educate and guide them along, if you will. Enforcement is the absolute last thing we want to do, because they have no income. How are they going to pay a fine? And so then it just becomes a self-repeating cycle, and it just gets worse and worse. So education and guidance into other resources becomes the key. And I think that was one of the things that I had mentioned when I was appointed that I want to do during my time here is with regard to mental health and victim services. And this dovetails into that as well.
I was gonna say, one concern, I have is the split county situation, that if somebody is on the Travis County side, the closest resources are pretty far, there's, on the Travis County side, city of Elgin, there's.
And that is that can be one of the challenges. And right now, the problem that we have is minimal. And, there's a couple that we all see. But before it becomes a significant problem, to have the tool in place to deal with it and to, in order to be able to help people in the end. Like I said, the enforcement is the last thing we want to do. And I don't know, did I answer your
You're right, yeah,
question?
no, I'm just wondering if, the police department could partner with, Travis County resources.
Yes.
Just like we partner with, Bastrop County resources
Absolutely.
on the Bastrop side to.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
yes.
We already do that in a
Okay.
general way. It's like everything else out there. When there were 20 people from Elgin living in Travis County, we didn't do much, but everything's growing that way. So all the services, we're doing more partnering with Travis County. So, yeah, and again, I would just say this is, as the chief said, this is, you can count on one hand any problems we've had this way, but I think if the situation in Austin proved anything, it got out of control before, and so this will just put us in a position to have this opportunity to enforce if necessary. But the chief's hearing what you're saying. I'm hearing what you're saying. Education and assistance first, enforcement would be last.
Chief, I have a question on the panhandling in a public place. So in Austin, where you have everyone standing on the corners, asking for $1 or whatever, is that what that's addressing?
Yes.
Or is that something different?
I prefer to call it aggressive panhandling, and
Say it again now?
I prefer to call it aggressive panhandling. That is the person, and we've had a few up at intersections with the squeegee and the water bottle and jumping out into traffic. And again, this gives us a tool to deal with it rather than giving them a traffic ticket, if you will, for being in a public roadway. But nevertheless, yes, that's exactly what it is. And that's just one more component of a standard camping, loitering ordinance.
But we're pretty consistent about, we don't allow people to stand on the street corner and panhandle out
No.
of cars.
No.
No.
Absolutely not. And in fact, we have not issued any citations for panhandling or for, because that does currently exist. We just ask them to move along and educate them as to what the ordinance is. If they want to solicit, they have to go get a permit, and like everybody else does.
And usually that's more of a traffic issue than it is.
Yes, yes.
panhandling.
Because I know twice, coming in on 290, I've called the city manager because there have been people out on 290 going in and out of 290 traffic. And my concern was they're going to get killed. Because 290 is
Mhm.
definitely not a place to be running in and out of. And the police went, and they just said, not a good idea.
Anybody else have anything they might want to add to this discussion?
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. I'm a little more, I guess, confident of this now, listening to the city manager and the chief describe how the police will address this, because that was a concern of mine. So if anybody, if no one else has any discussion or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Tom, did you want to say something? I'm sorry, did you want to
No,
say something?
I'm good.
I'll make a motion to approve as written.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Brasher, seconded by Councilmember Callahan to approve item number 2 under new business as read and discussed. We'll start the vote with Mayor Pro Tem Brasher.
Fraser, yes?
Ramirez, yes?
Vega, yes?
Gibson, yes.
Callahan, yes.
Ibis, yes.
Dennis, yes.